What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for coming back, and if you're new, welcome. I'm excited to have you here. In this video, we are going to talk about Google Analytics. Specifically, I'm going to talk about setting up Google Analytics on an e-commerce platform. So we are primarily going to be going through the universal analytics version of this, but I'm going to talk about the differences between UA Google Analytics and also G4 Google Analytics at the end of this video. So if you're interested in that specifically, you can probably just skip to the end and that'll save you a bit of time. But if you're interested in knowing the full shebang on what needs to be included and set up so that you can use Google Analytics effectively for your business, then keep watching. We are going to go through tracking URLs. We are going to go through relevant filters that are important to set up. And we are also going to go through how to set up conversion goals and events so that you can properly track what's going on your website. So keep watching. We're going to go over Google Analytics. Specifically, I'm going to talk about the Universal Analytics and not the G4 one. I'll cover that in the second half of this video because it looks a little different. But if you have a universal Google Analytics already set up, it should look something like this screen right here. And so I'm going to show you how to set it up and how everything should be optimized, specifically if you have an e-commerce site. If you have a service-based business like me, then I'm going to show you how to set up similar events as well. It's just a little bit more in depth for e-commerce stores than it is for service-based businesses, which is nice if you have a service-based business. But the first thing you want to do is make sure your property settings are set up correctly. So go ahead and click the property settings. It's going to ask you to name your property. So this should be your business name or website you have connected. It's also important to make sure that you enable demographics and interest reports. I like to enable this as well, and you also want to enable user metrics and reporting if it's not already done. Then you want to click save, and that's all you have to do for your property settings. If your website is asking for your tracking ID, they should have a spot where you can add your Google Analytics ID right here, and tracking code is where you want to go to find that. Now, if we go back to the main menu, we're now going to set up views. So we're going to go and click on view settings, and it's going to give you a default that says all website data. And then it's going to have you add your website again, and then you're going to have to choose your time zone. You can also select your currency. Make sure you have the bot filtering checked on every single view you have. And once all of that looks good, you're going to go ahead and click save. It's important to mention that in Google Analytics, every time you create a new view, it's going to only start tracking data from that point onward. And it's good practice to have a backup unfiltered view as well. To do this, I want to set up 3 views. I want you to have a master view, a raw data view, and a test view. This is what Google Analytics suggests in their Google Analytics Academy, and honestly, I think it's a good idea. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that this is going to be my raw website data, and so we're going to change that, and then we're going to hit save. What we want to do is add in more views, so we want to click create view. Then it's going to ask you to name it. I'm going to say test view, and then it's going to ask me what my time zone is, and then I'm going to hit create view. This is now going to be our test view, so anytime we're testing or manipulating filters or different types of data, we're going to do it in the test view first, because that way we can confirm whether or not our filter is working and if it's doing what we want to do or not without messing up any of our actual data, okay? Because once a filter starts filtering out data, that data is not recoverable once you remove the filter. Then what we want to do is click view settings. We're going to call this the master view, and we're going to hit copy view. So at this point we have a master view, a raw website data view, then we have a test view, and so what we want to do is we want to add filters to our master view. This is going to be the view that we have filtered data coming from. And this is going to be raw unfiltered website data, and this is kind of like another backup for our accounts because once data is filtered out, you can't recover it. That's the whole reason why we care about having all these views. That's the only reason why we have these multiple views. And so it's kind of just a backup for your account. You don't need to overthink it or, worry about what each of these mean. You're primarily going to be working within your master view. but the other two are just backups just in case the worst happens, okay? Now I'm going to show you how to set up filters. I want you to click on test view and then we're going to go down to filters. Then I want you to click on add filter and we're going to say exclude internal traffic. This is because whenever you visit your website to play around with different metrics or to make changes and updates to your website, analytics are counting you as a visitor even though you're not. And so we can actually exclude your IP address from counting in your analytics. And so we're going to say in the filter name, exclude internal traffic. And then we're going to click on select filter type. And then we're going to hit exclude. And then for select source or destination, we're going to say traffic from the IP addresses. And then it's going to say select expression. And so we want to say that it is equal to, and then it's going to ask you to put in your IP address. So any person who visits your website with your IP address is not going to be counted in the filter. To get this information, you can literally go on Google and say, what's my IP address? And Google will tell you what your public IP address is. So you can literally just copy and paste that into Google Analytics and hit save. Now you'll notice that we have a filter that's going to show up here, and in order to check this, if we go over and we click on real time and then overview, if I were to go to my website now, it wouldn't count me as a visitor, and that's because it's coming from my website and it's using my IP address. So it's automatically filtering out that data, and this tells us that this filter is working and it's doing what it's supposed to. So we can now add it to the master view. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back down to admin, and then we're going to bring up this page. The first thing we're going to do is switch views to master view, and then we're going to go down to filters, and it's going to say there's no filter for this. So we're going to hit add filter, and we're actually going to say apply existing filter. The filter we just created is going to be added there, and then we're going to go ahead and hit save. And now this exact same filter is showing up in the filter section, which is exactly what we want. The second thing you want to do is set up goals. These are just fancy ways of tracking desired conversions on your website. For example, if you were a service-based business like I am, you might count a conversion as somebody making an appointment with you. But if you are an e-commerce site, you are somebody who's more interested in completed online payment. For argument's sake, I'm just going to assume that I'm an e-commerce site, so we're going to say completed purchase, and this is going to give you different goal sets. You have a limited amount that you can make, so keep that in mind. Destination is going to take us to a URL page. Duration is going to count how long they were on your website for. This one is how many pages they visited while they were on your site. And then an event is something where you can set up the parameters. For example, if somebody clicked on a video, then you can go and track that action being taken on your site. In this particular example, I'm going to leave it as destination because people are going to land on a specific URL, and then it's going to count as a conversion. The first thing you're going to do is change this to regular expression, and then you're going to use whichever unique URL keywords that indicate a completed purchase. On a lot of websites, you are redirected to a thank you page, and it's going to look different for all of you depending on what your website is. If you aren't sure which keywords may be unique identifiers in your URL, then make a fake purchase and see what's in the URL after you make your purchase. Once you figure it out what the URL link looks like, then you're going to add it in here, and it's going to count anybody who reaches that thank you page as a completed purchase. A simple way to verify that you have everything set up correctly is to click Verify Goal. I do not have an e-commerce site, so I can't prove this to you, but basically it should give you some numbers here and tell you what you have set up is right. Something else you can do that is really cool is you can actually set up a funnel. Google Analytics will actually show you how your conversions are going down the funnel. For a lot of people, their funnel would look like a customer clicking on a product page. Then they would probably add to cart, and this extension would probably be carts. The next point is where they actually go to check out, and then they reach the thank you page that we wanted to use. Then once again, you can verify it and you can just hit save. Now your conversion shows up here and it says that it's on. So if we actually go click on conversions and then we go to funnel visualization, it now shows you how people move through the product page, add to cart, checkout, and thank you, and then finally the completed purchase occurs, right? If anybody is dropping out too early, then it'll show any gaps and holes in your funnel. Now let's take some time and actually go through what each of the sections down the side mean. At the top, we see real time, and basically this is the actual activity that's going on in your website right now. I'm in the Google Analytics demo account, and right now it says that they have 29 people who are currently on their website. These are the most active pages, and these are the top locations. Now, if we go down to audience, this is going to give us lots of really great information. It's going to give us our demographic information, which is going to give us things like age and gender. And then it's going to give us interest, which is really cool because this can actually help you verify that you're targeting the right audience. So if the website traffic that is on your site is very different from your ad targeting, then you're going to want to look into that. Another thing I want to mention, in order to get access to this data, you have to make sure that you have it enabled in your property settings. To do that, click on admin here, then you click on property settings and make sure the demographics and interest reports is enabled. Then we can go back here, and geo is going to give us the language and location, and it's also going to give us behavior as well. And so we can see new versus returning users. It's going to give us things like frequency, engagement, and session quality. They even have the speed of conversion probability, and if we go back and click on technology, it's also going to tell us about which browsers people are using. If we go to mobile, it's going to show us what devices people have, and then we can also see desktop, mobile, and tablet. Obviously, if people are converting better on desktop than they are on their phones, you might want to target more of your advertising for desktop users. Now we want to look at acquisition. The purpose of acquisition is to browse which marketing channels and sources are sending you the highest quality traffic for conversions. If we click on overview, you're going to see a pie chart breakdown of direct traffic, so people that just went directly to your website. This also shows up as direct traffic if you aren't tracking your links properly as well, and we're going to get into link tracking in a little bit here. Paid search is any paid traffic you had, and then we have affiliates and also referral. You might be wondering what a medium is, and it's the mechanism that delivers users to your site. For example, people can come to your site organically, or you can pay for them to come visit your site, which usually shows up as CPC, which stands for cost per click. Then there's also referrals, which in a lot of cases will be your social media channels, and you may also have email. Finally, you have none, which shows up as direct traffic. A source, on the other hand, provides more information about the medium. For example, if it's a referral, it'll show you the URL of the website that was referred. You can see that down here, mail.googleplex.com was the referral. So if we click on source up here, then we're not going to see the referral at all. You're just going to see the website itself that brought traffic in. Something I want you guys to pay attention to is bounce rate. It is a good indicator of traffic quality. If people are, for example, coming from your Pinterest ads and that traffic source has a higher bounce rate than your other cost per click channels, then you would probably want to get rid of that traffic method because it's not driving high quality traffic to your website. Next, we have behavior, and this helps us understand which pages of your website users are more engaged with. Here you'll see a bunch of different website URL links people are visiting. We'll see that the homepage is most popular, and then we can also look at our website content. That's going to show us all the pages and give us a breakdown of what's going on there. Exit pages is a good thing to periodically check because these are the last pages that viewers looked at before they left your site. If there are any particular pages that people are leaving, you want to consider why they're leaving on that particular page. If we click on events, this is important because it tracks how users interact with specific elements on your website. For example, if we look here and we click on event action, you'll notice that they have an event set up so that whenever somebody clicks on a product, then it counts as an interaction or an event. I want to show you how to set up custom URL links in Google Analytics' free campaign URL builder. We're going to take a website URL, so use your website and the page you want to be directing traffic to. I'm just going to use a client's website here. We're going to ignore campaign idea, and then what I'm going to focus on is the campaign source. So let's say that I'm just driving traffic for this client from their Instagram page, and I want to be able to track it. specifically the links that are clicked through their link in bio. I want to know who is clicking through that link and going to the website through Instagram. For campaign source, I'm going to type in Instagram, and then for campaign medium, I'm just going to leave this as social because I'm assuming that people are just going through Instagram and clicking on the website. And I'm also assuming this is organic traffic that's being driven through the social media platform. And then it's going to ask me for a campaign name. This company in particular offers a free sample, so I'm going to say that we're driving our campaign goals towards people purchasing a free sample, in which case this should actually be changed to their order a free sample page, but I'm just going to leave it for now. If, for example, I was running Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest traffic, and all of those campaigns were centered around them offering a free sample, then I could just leave that as the same campaign name, and I know and understand that that's what that campaign is trying to do, and it's trying to drive people to order a free sample. Then I also want to add a campaign term. I'm going to say that this is organic because I want to know that it's from Instagram, it's social, and it's organic traffic. For argument's sake, let's say I wanted to run a Facebook ad instead. So I would change this to Facebook, and now this would be cost per click because I'm actually running Facebook ads and that's paid traffic. And let's say we're still pushing the free sample, and so now what I can say for campaign term is Facebook. Then here, let's say I'm trying different ad versions, so maybe it's ad 1 versus ad 2, and I want to see which one performs better in terms of traffic. And that's what I would do here. And so once you have all of that filled out, you're going to copy this link that's automatically going to be created for you. And then you can go ahead and paste this into your bio link. If you're running Pinterest ads, then you would go ahead and put that in the pin link. And if you're running Facebook ads, then you can put your tracking link in their tracking section, and this gives you everything there. I want to now show you guys what G4 looks like. Everything we've covered up until this point has been using the universal analytics because that's most common and that's what a lot of people already have set up on their website. But the newest version of Google Analytics is called G4 and it looks a little bit different. So I've created a G4 account and you'll notice that we're missing the view column here. And so the setup is a little bit different, and so is managing what you're tracking. So I'm just going to go through that really quick here. And so hopefully this makes it really clear what the differences are and also is helpful to you if you're wanting to set up a G4 property. So what you would want to do is click on property settings. This is going to look very similar to the universal analytics section. So we have our property name, then we have our industry and category, we have our time zone, and then we have our currency. And so you would just fill that out and you'd click save. Now where this gets a little bit different has to do with data streams. You'll recall when we went over the universal analytics, what I ended up doing was I ended up creating filters in order to filter out, internal traffic and different things like that. And because we don't have a view column, we're gonna primarily be doing this in the data stream section. So how this would look for you is if you have a new account, this would not show up and you would just hit add stream and then you would click on web. And so I'm not going to create an ad stream, but you would just follow the instructions there. It's really simple. You would just put in your information and it's really easy. What you're going to do is once you have your website connected, you're going to click on this because you're going to have your website show up there. And this is kind of interesting for enhanced measurement because you can actually include what's being included, which is kind of nice. If you're using Google Tag Manager, this is where you would go to get everything set up there and connect it. And then what we care about actually is at the bottom here, and we want to click on more tagging settings. You'll notice here there's a section that says define internal traffic. And so what you do is you would go and hit create, and then you would have and then you would say IP address equals, and you would put in your IP address. And once again, you can just go on Google and literally type in what is my IP address, and Google will tell you directly. So that's how you would go and filter out your internal traffic. And the second thing we care about is creating events. And so you can create custom events just like you would in Google Analytics, the universal version, but in G4, we're doing it through the data stream. So you'll notice that they have a ton of different event names. So I'm going to hit
let's create some. So I'm going to create a login one. So basically, I want to know whenever somebody logs into my membership site. So this is how I'm going to set it up. So in order for this to count as a login, they have to log in and it has to be on that page. And so we're going to hit create. And that's how we would create custom events, okay? And so as you can see, you can create tons of them. So if we wanted to track clicks, let's say, then an event name equals click. And we can go ahead and save that. And so now anytime somebody clicks on anything on the website, it's going to create it as an event. You can also adjust session timeouts. This is important because Google Analytics by default will have your sessions last 30 minutes. But if, let's say, you're like me, having people watch videos and different things like that, if that video is longer than 30 minutes, then the session's going to automatically time out at 30 minutes, and it's going to count those sessions as 2 sessions, which doesn't give us very good data. So if you are somebody who does have a video or a lead magnet where somebody's going to be spending a considerable amount of time on that page, then you want to adjust your session settings to accommodate for that. Now, you'll also notice in Google Analytics G4 that the reports are slightly different. So our real-time report, as you can see, looks significantly different, and it will give you a breakdown of lots of interesting stuff. Acquisition, once again, just looks slightly different, but it's still giving you all the relevant information that you want to have. So our events is giving us a breakdown of events, and then if we click on conversions, that's going to give us the conversion information we're looking for. And so we have first visit, begin checkout, and purchase. If we click down on demographics in the user section, you can get a breakdown of their demographics. And if we click on tech, then the information is also very similar to the Universal Analytics version. The graphs are just a little bit different. And you can still go back to admin down here. But that's basically the main differences between Universal Analytics and G4.